Welcome to CathyDSlaught's SRC4u Zoom call for November 23rd, 2021. We're here on Cathy's website, CathyDSlaght.com. To access the Zoom call, we're going to scroll down and look for this Zoom banner where we'll click here. If you'd like to be part of Cathy's SRC4u Daily Energy Clearing Group, you'll register here or proceed to the Zoom platform. Once I click, the call will be live, so please turn down your speakers.
I got to meet Dr. Jerry Tennant. Are you guys familiar with him?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And he was wonderful, and believe it or not, he was also somewhat rejected by the others and the other teachers. And I don't know why that could have been. He moved on. He's got some other gadgets now. But I remember what he said. I was very skeptical of this distance stuff. Remember where I was coming from, I had nothing in the way of an understanding other than I was ill and trying to get well. And as far as the distance, he said to me, you know what, if you pray for your daughter, do you have to have your hands on her? And I said, of course not. And he said, this is what you're doing here. This is prayer. This is prayer work. And that clicked big time. But he's got that book, if you haven't had a chance to take a look, Healing is Voltage. And he does some wonderful work. So anyway, it's 10 o'clock. Let me show you a little bit. From yesterday, I just want to show you, we went into the 24-hour supercharger, negative to positive, and we only needed 15 minutes to infuse chi with purpose, and then 55 minutes, a better world. And this is all with the up here field generator and down here. And I've been going through, I keep forgetting to put some of this stuff in the notes. I'm going through another book on Scribe about the subtle fields. And the book started with cells, and we did some work with cells as far as energetically. But it goes on to explain why thoughts are so powerful. And I kind of just took this out of the book, shortened it a little. We are surrounded by quantum fields of photons that pulse throughout the body, transferring information through each of its layers. This process can be coherent or incoherent, and much of the process is under our control through our thoughts. And so obviously our thoughts even impact our DNA, and then it goes from cells to skeletal system. And here is the interesting thing about the skeletal system. That's our support, obviously, our bones and our entire skeletal system, that's our support. And one of the biggest stressors to our own support, our skeletal system, is what's going on with our authorities, and if we feel we aren't supported. So it says problems with the skeletal system, this comes from the Ailes Encyclopedia, often indicate a rebellion against authority or a state of deprecation, and then I didn't finish that, I guess, where you feel your authorities are not supporting you. So it's an interesting thought, and it looks to me, I don't know what the rest of you think, but with the things that are going on with all this political party stress, it looks to me like we just need to trust ourselves. We need to realize we can create the reality. It's up there for us in the form of information surrounding us if we choose to access it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So let's just for the heck of it. Oh, and I want to show you this. This is the other thing. As you know, I got this wild hair that some of the things in the charger with our upgrade, this Wonder Click is so powerful. And very often, if you just add a few charges, your work's done. But then I got to think, and I looked at some of the lists over the years we've all added, like, say, the list for infection is very long. How do you know which charge? So I started making some lists, and that has grown and grown and grown. And it dawned on me the other day, why not just check and see if we should scan that list and see what charges we want? And today, not always, but today we have a 98% benefit of doing that. So I'll show you our charger scan, and we did that yesterday as well. The charges, to me, we've got Ralph and Kevin to elaborate on this, but it's kind of like dropping a pebble in a pond. Something might come up that might not mean that's even going on. We're working with the blueprint, but you drop that pebble in a pond and give it a little shift. And I'm seeing, since I started doing this with clients, I'm seeing some really positive results. So just I want to show you that. Let's see where we are just at this moment in time as a group with our own sovereignty, realizing we may not have to be so stressed over, okay, well, we could come up a little, couldn't we? A little stressed over what's going on, create our own. Anyway, and we do have, I want to show you, we do have, where'd we go? Oh, this is, I'll just work my way down. This is what we want to work on today. I did the overall scan. We want to, of all things, add our jewelry, the planet, SSTT, and then I don't think I added it in there, but we have only one real cocktail in reference to skeletal in our floated in already, and that's the Delwar skeletal, which is radionics rates. Let's see, since we brought skeletal up, if there is any need for that. Just priority for chi. Delaware. And we may not need it because this wonder click is really a wonder click. Nope, we don't need it. You see that? So it's there for the times that it's appropriate. Here is, we do want the SST, and as you can see, we want, we'll just put that in a minute. Let's look first where we are just with the wonder click. All subtle information, all what we're balancing out.
Cathy, may I ask, how is it that your items light up in color?
That's the upgrade. If you haven't had a chance to get that upgrade, touch base with Kevin.
So is that just an automatic thing that happens?
Correct. Yeah, it's
when the theme box is left empty.
Yes.
Then you wonder click.
Okay, when the theme box is left empty, then the things light up.
Then you wonder click.
Okay.
This idea of performing rituals, which can be a real source of stress as well. And it kind of, you see, we call it a defensive action. So in other words, it kind of takes our mind off perhaps things we really need to pay attention to. Let's just see if there is any negativity associated with that. And Ralph, this group is used to all this. While you're here, do you have anything new to share with us? And by the way, look at that high stress of performing rituals here.
No, nothing really new to report. I'm setting up a new computer for programming only, and that takes my time. And when that is done, then I can get the additions to the charger done. So I'm working on that. Okay, so.
Ralph, may I ask you to explain how the e-body fitness works? The concept, it's a mystery to me.
The concept is the same like with the premium. So the concept is that you are balancing the energies which are needed to produce muscle mass, or to okay, so envision when you would run a mile. And this type of energy is measurable, the energy you require to do so. And it's as well feelable by the person who does that with the maybe even pain which is involved in this. So you can actually see how or feel how the energy work in your body if you do it physically. So this concept is used with the e-body to simulate this action. Does that help you?
Yes, it helps a great deal. Thank you very much. And thank you for including it in the SRC. It's wonderful.
Well, you in theory can use the premium for that, but it's not as specific towards that task. But you can achieve a similar value using the premium.
Wonderful.
And we've got a lot going for us here. Strength to speak your truth with root consciousness. Maybe just planting a seed occasionally. One thing that has really been interesting, see, look now again, subconscious wants to die. Let's see what that's about. Let's just bring that down. Of course, realizing also there is no death. Anyway, and that was interesting, by the way, from yesterday. One thing that came up was happy, a charge for happy. There's quite a cocktail in the charger for that. And we took 8 minutes for that. We needed a lot of that. Now look above, mopey, look here, lack of motivation. So these are all things that once we are aware that's coming up, even though this is the group, it may not be the individual, but it is the collective. And once you realize that, you may want to make some changes. Lack of motivation. And masking. And these are the kinds of things, if you're in a session, you can always cover with your clients. People say, well, if I'm just hitting a wonder click, how can I do a session? There's a ton of information in here. Your sessions can easily go over an hour. When the wonder click is working with all this. Okay. In any household, junk accumulates to the space available for its storage. Isn't that the truth? Self-confidence issues. Let's just douse in self-confidence. Again, we know we're learning more and more the power of these words. And we could use a little amping up on that as a group. fighting too hard. Look at that, against injustice, over enthusiasm. So again, maybe going back to your own sovereignty to create. Interesting. Reckless, could be good or bad. Quivery, a little stress related to the stomach. So let's go down here now. Yay. And here are the issues that we're asking for extra charger energy on today. Oh, let's add that first.
Cathy, could you go back to the C box and the option box?
Yes, yes.
Under superconscious.
Yes.
Look at this. On one side, it says want to die, and the other side, to fix it, is reckless.
Isn't that interesting? Well, thank you. That's true. And look at, I'm going to give a quick example, the Rittenhouse thing. The guy that he killed had gotten out of prison the day before, and it looked like he'd had a tragic life. He had a lot of things on his plate that probably most people would be very angry about, things he had done. And as they said, as he was approaching Rittenhouse, he was saying, "Shoot me, shoot me."
By the way, sorry, Cathy, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I have read that the whole that whole thing is a psyop, and that Rittenhouse himself is a crisis actor, and they were using green screen, and the whole point was to create such a distraction from everything else that's going on. I've read that in two places. That doesn't mean that it's true, but it certainly gives one pause.
Well, that's the truth. We don't know what's true, and we can only, I think, go for our own sovereignty. I don't know. I've not read that. I haven't done a lot of reading about a lot of this stuff lately, because I just haven't done it. But one thing you can do, at least for your own blueprint, you can go in here and check the validity of various issues, and see the validity to you. But you just don't, you're right, you just don't know.
Intuition has to take over.
Yes. And that's where you go with all this. The more of this you work with, the more on target your intuition may be, because remember, you're in a field. As far as they know, it's infinite. They have not found an end to it, but they can photograph it, and they can measure it with the most advanced technology. It's a field of information, just like you have the World Wide Web for your computer. You have a far greater web of information. And what blocks it, what short circuits it, is all this stress, whether it be environmental stress or stress of thoughts. Just look at the stress to the skeletal system. If you begin to feel helpless with what's going on, or so on and so forth. And so there's a lot to think about here. And since we have you, Ralph, with us, do you want to go into detail about this SSTTRF? That we've requested?
The SSTTRF?
Yes.
Okay, so refresh my memory, please.
Well, that's what I was wanting you to do, is refresh my memory. When we scanned, we asked for the SSTTRF.
Rife frequencies.
Right frequencies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't you have that?
Well, yeah, it's in here. I just wondered if we're putting it in now, but I just wondered if you had any more information on that for us.
No, not really.
Okay.
I recall that when this was created, that we had the black book, and we picked out of the black book the most necessary frequencies, and they got put together, and they are within the premium in the same fashion as the STT RF is written. So all the codes in there are in the premium.
And you know what's interesting, that we're asking for RIFE, and also with a 98% benefit of receiving charges, many of which are RIFE. So yeah, thank you. Here's what we're asking for today. Anemia, iron deficiency, headache, unknown cause. I'm going to just go through the zeros. Dowsing for emotional healing, kidney failure. Now, again, that doesn't mean we've got kidney failure. We're going to drop the pebble in the pond, but we obviously have a little kidney stress. Stimulate lymph, Burkitt, whatever that is, lymphoma, obstruction, and then a virus infection. So we'll do that one at a time throughout the day. And finally, get in here. We have
Cathy, I'm also having a lot of the chemical poisons. You know, you gave us that chemical list, and I'm astounded at how many of those are showing up right now as positive.
Yes, that chemical scan, it does not hurt to do that on a regular basis, or at least test and see if there's a priority for your chi to do it. It's very interesting. Now, before we go into these Pro Tools, let me show you where we are, because we have a few things we're working on long term. We've gotten down to a 6. This is activate cosmic and elemental energies to align with the power of God. We're ready now. We're at a pro on that. I do once or twice a day. I don't want to hammer it. So let's go ahead and do that. We finally cleared with the perverse energy and the yes therapy. We're asking to clear that, and we got down here to our 100. So we can take that one down. This yes therapy is powerful, but you sometimes have to keep at it. We're still, well, we just finished, but that was going right up until just a few minutes ago. This was the light therapy in reference to the genes and chromosomes carrying sufficient information. So we're done with that. Here's our supercharger. This is negative to positive. We still got a little over 30 minutes to go on that. Now, we wanted the sustenance balancer today as one of the Pro Tools, and in the scan, we wanted all that food. And I want you to see the yang, a little bit too much energy, all settle, liver, vertebrae, legs, cervical, chest, dermatome, skin, and then down here, the little bit weak, a little bit of yin energy, hands, stomach meridians, dermatome again. Vertebrae has been coming up so often, and remember about spine on yesterday. Teeth, dermatome might not hurt some of us to check in with our chiropractor. To turn my phone off. And then I did go ahead, you don't need to, but I did go ahead and do a little scan for the sustenance balancer. And now I'm not going to add the caffeine because we have a couple of people in here that are not in favor of caffeine. So, but you've got all these others that you can actually add together. Let's look in here and see where we are. Just a minute. Acupuncture. Let's just do auto. And damp appears very often. Just 4 minutes. So look, we're pretty powerful today, as far as our energy is balancing out rather quickly in many areas. Dispenser. That was another thing we finally cleared. By the way, we were having a little fun with the timeline, clearing negative events, and I didn't save that one for you. I should have to show you. But that's another one not to underestimate, is working with the timeline. Again, let's just do auto. Get more information. See, nerves comes up. You can get quite a bit of thought-provoking information from the flower essence scan as far as some of the emotional stresses. Let's look up here. Psychological counseling, self-disgust, loathing, hatred, shame. My goodness. Again, are we tapping in?
That's the shadow side.
Yeah, the shadow side. And are we tapping in, as we showed the other day in a scan, are we tapping in to collective? Because we are one. Let's just look at that. Get some information. Okay, let's take that down. And then you look at the light, develop healthy acceptance of physical body, sex, and emotions. So again, you can go back and forth with this. The information, you remember what we're taught now by some of those who study this deeply, is that when the brain has an awareness of this, 80% of it is corrected. That's the power of that little computer we have as part of our equipment. It's in our head. And let's just see where we are with that. Let's just amp that up. Melancholy has come up, and we've worked on that in different ways. And that's an important energy to clear. And what we want to do is clear blockages in the subtle bodies. This is working on that. We've got the awareness. That's what's important. Oversensibility. So that's too easily influenced. We want to do the willing to serve. They say that's the only real key to mastery is when you realize you want to serve others. We've got here fear of aging, perpetual pursuit of youth, failure to recognize dignity and grace of mature beauty, and that can be transformed to self-awareness and acceptance. Awakening of the wise woman, that sounds pretty good. Awareness of dignity and usefulness of the crone, and revelations of inner purpose. This looks pretty good. Let's do revelations of inner purpose. See where we stand with that right now. Amp that up a little bit. Access individual in reclaiming power. Balanced, one has power, one has release to others. Kind of deals with sovereignty. Treatment of physical, emotional, brain, mental abuse, resulting in emotional withdrawal. Here we go with creative forces, stabilizing body and soul balance. So this is interesting, at least as far as I'm concerned, to look at this, get past procrastination. So let's just go ahead and get it started. And then what I like to do with this sustenance balancer, and maybe with Ralph and Kevin on, they can tell me if I will check in. See, we're ready now for 7 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and do that. My own personal opinion is sometimes we're calibrating. Could definitely be wrong. I can't tell you that. It's just my intuition. And I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then I want to ask you one more thing about tomorrow. I ran across a book. It came Friday, and I've been playing around with it, but it's kind of a, strange book with some different opinions. And it is about releasing what's called alters, which are different forms of stress that are actually in your bloodline. And then it's a definite Christian book. I don't know how y'all feel like this. It has a very high-powered prayer that can be put in the SRC to clear these. Are you interested in going over that information tomorrow? If you want to email me, you don't have to speak out now, but I'd like to hear, because a lot of people are totally turned off by the Christian stuff. I don't want to push it, but we've got a lot of attention now, more than we've ever had, about this kind of negativity. And I'll tell you what it seems to have come from is the Travis Scott situation. There's a lot of people now talking more about possible dark energy and the influence coming especially from music and the images. So email me if you'd like, and if I get enough emails saying that you'd like to cover this, then I'll share with you this information from this book. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll be in at 10, right? You said tomorrow at 10?
Tomorrow at 10, yeah.
Okay, I will be there.
Oh, good. Okay, well, it might be a little too weird for you, but email me, and I don't mind. I'm already weird, so I'll do more weird. But I've been doing this with a couple of clients. It seems to be, and I've, of course, done it with myself, the idea is what's in our bloodline, and that we could go ahead and clear, because we do have the technology to do it.
Well, I would certainly be interested in knowing how to do that.
It's thought-provoking. The prayer, this is going to be definite Christian theology. So, that everybody feels differently about that. But if you really look into it, Jesus was talking quantum. If you don't know that, that's interesting reading also. So it may be that Christianity was turned into a big bureaucracy that turned people off, but there's a much deeper meaning than what many of us realized growing up, being preached to.
Absolutely.
Well,
Okay.
if you just consider that the Bible once had 777 books, and today it's 66. So, yeah, you're on the right trail.
We will see. We will see. So, okay, well, this is it for today.
Awesome, Cathy. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, you guys. I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Cathy.
right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Take care.
Cathy.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks lots, Cathy. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you, Ralph.
This concludes the SRC4u Zoom call for CathyDSlaght. We thank you for attending. We look forward to seeing you again. Until then, take care